This is a sentimental favorite of mine because it was one of the very first kind of discoveries I made with regards to numbers in the Torah, and then that kind of branched out to the Kenites and gematria and statistics, and it actually reminds me of the very first time I ever picked up the Torah, because I was extremely intrigued by the numbers in Genesis 5, um, and then it kind of hit me that you can't really do this kind of stuff with the books of other religions. So there's something very special about the Torah, and you'll see how what I'm about to show you is actually connected to the mishkan or the tabernacle, because there's a definite pattern going on here that you can't find anywhere else in this chapter. So, for instance, we know Genesis 5 is the genealogy of Adam, and there are a number of entries here, all with numbers attached to them. So you can see here, just for an example, Adam lived 130 years, which will come up again, and then he lives another 800 years after the birth of Seth, and all the days of Adam came to 930 years. And this pattern continues throughout the chapter. However, so I was intrigued by this, and I started to take note of all the numbers and began to look for patterns. And actually, there is a very definite and easy to see pattern when it comes to this person, Kenan, who we know virtually nothing about except for that he was a righteous person. And it says here, when Kenan had lived 70 years, he begot Mahalalel. And 70 is often associated with the 70 nations of the world. So Kenan lived 70 years. After the birth of Mahalalel, he lived 840 years. And all the days of Kenan came to 910 years. So what do you notice about these numbers? 70, 840, and 910. They are all multiples of 7 or 70. So 70 times 12, 840. 70 times 13, 910. And these numbers will be significant later. But also, if you take the name Kenan, the value of Kenan itself is also a multiple of 70. It has the value 210, which, by the way, Kenan is 210, which is the same value as Canim, which is Kenites, 210. But anyway, all the numbers associated with Kenan are multiples of 7 or 70, which again you cannot do with any of the other entries in this chapter. This is specifically kind of special for Kenan. So we have here 70, then the value of Kenan 210, which is 70 times 3, then 70 times 12, 70 times 13. Now, how is this all associated with the mishkan or the tabernacle? You go to Numbers 7, and in verse 13, you see for the first time one silver basin of 70 shekels. One silver basin of 70 shekels. And when you're reading this chapter, you'll notice that this repeats 12 times, and then one more time just to go over everything that was said. So this 70, the 70 shekels, shows up 12 times and then 13 times in this chapter. And you can actually go through them all. And it ends all the way at verse 85. So, and it's kind of neat as well, because each silver dish weighing 130 shekels, 130 is also connected to Genesis 5 with the years of Adam before he has Seth. But again, you can check this for yourself as well. 70 shekels of the silver basin all comes up 13 times in total. One silver basin of 70 shekels. This will come up 12 times for the 12 tribes, and then they mention it one more time to kind of sum up everything that you've seen in the chapter. So one silver basin of 70 shekels. So here you have your 70, your 840, and your 910, which would be the total in the end. Now, why is this significant as well? Because the silver basin of 70 shekels, and we mentioned that Kenan has the same value as cainites. And what were the Kenites known for? They were a nomadic tribe. And the Kenites were coppersmiths and metal workers. These were the masters of metals. And there's actually a hint of this going all the way back to Genesis 4. So one chapter before, where it says, Zillah bore Tubal-Cain, who forged all implements of copper and iron, and was a master of metals, the very first master of metals being Tubal-Cain. So you can see the Kenite connection to all types of metals. But then it goes even further with regards to the menorah. Because you can see Keni here, Keni being like a branch or a rod, and whenever you see this Keni, the short form of kenite, it's in regards to the menorah, which of course was made out of what? Gold, another metal. So it says here, 6 branches shall issue from its sides, and here you see Kenim, which sounds exactly like cainites, and then the branch of the menorah. And then you can see it again, Ha-Kenim, so the branches, which sounds exactly like the cainites. And you can find it right here as well. Right down here. Ha-Kenim. All these branches of the menorah.